India, when we speak of Digital India, the first question comes to our mind is what? Is what? What is Digital India, correct? So the Digital India is basically our government's plan to transform our country into a digitally empowered knowledge economy. It's a huge word. Okay. Okay. I will give some facts about the digital. It was launched on 1st of July 2015. So we can always say belated anniversary to Digital India. It was yesterday only, right? It was done in Indira Gandhi Indoor Stadium, which is there in NCR, by our Honorable Prime Minister Mr. Modi. Mukesh Ambani, the earlier chairman of Tata Cyrus Mystery, and other big industrialists and the big faces of India were there. At that point of time, on the launch day, even so many IT companies of India were mandatorily asked to show the whole speech of PM to each and every employee of that company. So it was mandatory to those companies to show a telecast of that. Okay. Going into this Digital India is a broader term. Now, when we go into Digital India, it has schemes. Schemes like Digital Locker. I will talk about all these later on. Digital Locker, e-education, e-health, e-sign. Now, E stands for electronic.
Yeah.
And National Scholarship Portal. Then again comes BharatNet and Next Generation Network. Okay. Digital India, see, each and every project has to have a vision. So does our Digital India has. What vision it is having? It is three parts. Digital infrastructure as a utility to every citizen of India. First part. So this first part will have the mechanics in it. And the other two are results of these mechanics. Okay. So the other two are governance and services on demand. Whenever you demand, you need to have governance and services in hand to each and every government employee as well as citizen. Then the third one and the last one is digital empowerment of citizens. I will go into these three now. Digital infrastructure as a utility to every citizen. Now it has to have parts. The first part would be availability of high speed internet as a core utility for delivery of services to the citizen. When we read this sentence, what comes to our mind is that when we speak of every citizen, our India is huge, right? It has so many rural areas where the electricity is not there. How can we, or how this Digital India is going to provide those each and every length and breadth of India internet, right? So they included broadband connection through optical fiber to each and every, like they are targeting 6 lakh villages by 2017, 6 lakh villages of India. Okay. The second one is cradle to grave identity. When you say cradle, cradle is basically a kid's kodu in Gujarati, a kid's bed when it is where in very young days. Okay. To grave, grave is the dafan. Now, cradle to grave identity. What is it?
Aadhaar.
Aadhaar. We all know. But there are very interesting things about Aadhaar. Aadhaar, we all know, is linked with a mobile number, correct?
Yes.
It has biometrics, correct?
Mm.
We also sign Aadhaar form, correct? So this Aadhaar is going to have what? Mobile with digital signature. Then mobile with biometrics. And a new step, I don't know how they are going to implement this, but mobile with voice biometrics. And this is under process. So once each and everyone's Aadhaar and everything will be done, they are going to implement this voice biometrics as well. So it is not done right now, but it will be done later on. Then the third one is mobile phone and bank account enabling citizen participation in digital and financial space. Correct. Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana. Everyone has to have a bank account. rupee 1 insurance, rupee 2 insurance, all those stuff, just to drive our Indian citizens to have what? Bank accounts. And these bank accounts are linked with Aadhaar number and mobile number again. Now we all know a new change which has happened is the 811. Do you know 811? 811 is basically Axis Bank, not
Kotak.
Kotak Bank's immediate account opening system, where you need to provide only your Aadhaar number, your few details like your name, your date of birth, and those stuff, which you fill up even when you are creating
Aadhaar.
email. Okay, all those stuff, and your account is open. Zero balance digital account. You no need to go to bank. Fourth one. Easy access to CSCs. What is CSCs? CSCs are basically service centers. I forgot the first C. It is service centers.
Customer service center.
No,
Cash service center?
no. I forgot the first C. I'll cover it later on. CSCs. Okay. So CSCs are basically the centers which will be available in gram panchayatas and all those stuff, where general public can go and access to internet stuff, right? So what they are saying is CSC's original target. This is a very nice fact we have to have. It was launched in July 2015. At that point of time, the target was 1 lakh CSCs to 6 lakh villages. India today already have 1,37,000 CSCs, and they are working. So it's a huge implement.
Yeah.
The fifth one is shareable private space on public cloud and safe and secure cyberspace. This sounds very crunchy, right? But it has, I mean, very attractive facts. Digital locker. Have you heard digital locker?
No.
हाँ क्रिश पिक्चर में देखी है।
Sorry?
क्रिश मूवी
No. Digital locker. I already told you about Aadhaar, correct?
Yes.
Aadhaar is linked with mobile number.
Yes.
Now, digital locker is basically your account in government's cloud system, accessible using your Aadhaar card, your mobile number, and OTPs which you receive in a mobile. Correct? Digital locker would have your each and every government document scanned and electronically available there. Look at the benefits. You don't have to present your physical documents to any government agency after it is implemented totally. So wherever you go, you just have to give a link. You go to link, you download my documents, it is available. Correct? So this digital locker is going to help our government to have data bank of each and every citizen who are linked with Aadhaar, of course. And the government agencies will not be requiring any more paper. That means more greenery into India. Then comes the second part. I told you about the mechanics. Mechanics includes basically your mobile, bank, Aadhaar card, Digital India, all your documents available electronically in digital locker, all those stuff. Now comes the governance and service on demand. So for anybody to govern or to provide service on demand, this Digital India has 6 critical elements to it. Now these all are results to the mechanics. The first one is seamlessly integrated services across departments or jurisdictions. As we all know, the plan was to implement 1 lakh CSCs across 6 lakh villages. There are already 1,37,000 working. Now, these centers are not only going to provide services to people, but they are also working on behalf of government. Correct? So, even the remotest area in India is now connected with internet. So, to our central ministry, right? We can say that. So that way they are going to integrate each and every government center which is right now available through internet. Then the second part is availability of services in real time from online and mobile platforms. Right? If it is this platform is integrated, you can always have it together. Then the third one is all citizen entitlement to be portable and available on cloud, digital locker. Each and every document will be available in cloud. But there is a fact. Once it is available to each and every citizen. It is available to government as well. So it is a huge benefit to government because this corrupt people or whoever are showing the fake documents and all the stuff, somehow they are going to eliminate. The corruption will eliminate. We are hoping so. Then the fourth one is digitally transformed services for improving ease of doing business. For any business to start up, the first thing comes, go take approval for construction. Go take approval for running your business. Go form a company, fill in a form, fees, all those stuff, pay fees and all those stuff, correct? So for running a business, there are so many processes, the governmental processes one guy has to go from, correct? Which requires so many papers and filling forms and all those stuff. Now, when we say digitally transformed services, the government in Digital India is trying to electronize each and every this process so that no one has to rush to an office physically and do those stuff. It is well available on mobile, right? So there are certain platforms which are currently running. Okay, so one of those are EBs, which is e-business, short form for EBs. It is Digital India's initiative. MCA 21. MCA 21 is for our company. And then E-Trade. E-Trade is basically for import-export business and all those stuff. So taking import-export code and all those stuff can be done using this site. Then the fifth one is making financial transactions electronically and cashless. I wonder whatever is happening since last 1 year is because of Digital India. See, Modi gave Aadhaar card. Not 1 year. I would change 1 year to 3 years. Correct? So Modi came Aadhaar card. Digital India again. Bank account, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, all those stuff again Digital India. Demonetization. Indirectly increase the cashless transactions. Correct? Again Digital India. UPIs again Digital India. UPI you know, right? What is UPI? UPI is basically what is the full form? Do you know? Do anyone know?
Unique personal identification. Unique personal identification.
No, it is not UPI. It is Unified Payment Interface or something like that. I'm not sure on this, but it is somewhat like this. Payment interface. Unified, I'm not sure. Universal Payment Interface. This is the full form. So you can only using mobile number transfer money from your mobile phone to my account.
Yeah.
You can do that using UPI, and there are apps available. Beam app again launched by
Without app
PM.
also.
Then Pay app, Paytm again works that way, and all these other apps are working. Okay. So that way, this making financial transaction electronically and cashless works. The other one is leveraging geospatial information system. Now, when you say geospatial, when this Digital India came, there were so many talks going on regarding the corruption will slow down and all those stuff. But how it is going to happen? It is going to happen using this thing, geospatial information system. Now, how this works? Let's say there is a project going on in Andhra Pradesh, correct? Now, the funding comes from where? The central government, correct? Which is in Delhi. Delhi people cannot every time go to Andhra Pradesh and look at the project. So, here's a twist. This geospatial information system, what it does is, it captures the project's movement and everything real time. So once the project is running, you need to go and you need to enter data every day. The punching stuff, the billing, electronically billing and everything. That way, the digital data will come to the computer and they will be able to monitor the process which is going on. So if someone is making a promise that this project will be completed in 3 years, and if it is not uh, seeming that way, government can always go and look at that people, correct? Because they can watch. Earlier it was not possible. So this geospatial information system is really going to change the governmental system and projects, the infrastructure work which is going on right now. Now the third phase of the vision, digital empowerment of citizens. Digital empowerment of citizens. Now the goal is basically, when Digital India was launched, Modi was of such opinion that I need to have at least one person in a house who is digitally literate. When we say digitally literate, he is able to use internet properly. For that, again, CSCs come into picture. CSCs not only are going to provide the public internet, they are again going to teach those people. So that way they are going to implement this as well. The first one is universal digital literacy. In this part, digital empowerment of citizens, the first one comes universal digital literacy. Again, as Modi said, one person in house has to have a digital literate guy. Universally accessible digital resources. Digital locker comes into the picture. Availability of digital resources, services in Indian languages. Now, India is such a country having 1000 plus languages. 22 are official languages. 22 are official. 12 are scripts. So when I say 22 official, you can go in Google, you can literally find those 22 out. That means official. Other 978 are yet not known, but they are still speaking it and using it. So universally accessible digital resources, and then comes availability of digital resources, services in Indian language. This why this line was included here is, in India, as we know, there are 1000 plus languages. Not each and every one is knowing English correctly, right? So in order to have documents of their regional language digitally stored, they have to have a program which runs their language. So under Digital India, already Indian government has a team which is working on incorporating those languages even in our software and system. So that way, even their languages document will be read and will be available to government. The fourth point is collaborative digital platform for participative governance. Now, when we say collaborative, it is two-way. I am speaking, you guys are just listening, you are not communicating to me. It is just unilateral, it is not collaborative. Collaborative is we are having communication. Now, when we say collaborative digital platform for participative governance, it says that there will be platforms available where people, we will communicate to government each and every minute in real time if you want. So one of those is already running, which is mygovernment.in. You can go and you can write down each and every whatever suggestion you are having, whatever thing you are having. Then other thing is Prime Minister's office, if you all know. You can reach out to Prime Minister anytime. It is available in India. So if you have any suggestion or anything you want to do and you want to pass a message to Prime Minister, you can go and write it down on his dashboard. Then Man Ki Baat. It is not collaborative, but it is kind of collaborative because he speaks to person, very selective one, but he speaks to person. Then citizen not required to physically submit government documents. A huge change going to be because of digital locker. Now, this is about the vision. But when we speak of vision, we need to take steps towards that vision, correct? Now, how Digital India will be realized? How they are going to realize all this stuff? So, they are having pillars. To reach to a mountain, you need staircase. In this case, they are having pillars. Okay? The first one is broadband highways. Broadband highways is basically your optical fiber connecting those CSCs. Then comes universal access to phones. Universal access. India, if you know, is the fastest growing telecom industry in the world, and it is the largest telecom industry in the world. So it is largest already, and it is fastest growing as well. It is said that it is 35 to 40% growth in telecom industry every year, which is not seen in any industry. Then public internet access program, again CSCs come into picture. Even the farthest sitting guy can have access to internet. Then e-governance. E-governance is basically about this government authorities and everything. What they are saying is through internet they are going to digitalize each and every record available. So if you have heard, last month only our government said to digitalize our land records, if you know. Land records and all those stuff, right? When this GST talks were going on, there was this other talk going on regarding digitalizing the land things.
Yeah.
So, which is right now available in 7 Bhara Utara, what we say correctly. It will be available in computer. Already Gujarat has done it in computerized. Gujarat has already done it. So Gujarat is one of the pioneers into this thing, and other states are yet to implement, but they are going to do it. So the cases are, if there is any case pending for this thing, like you and me, we are having conflict over a land, how they are going to digitalize this thing, correct? So there are some issues as well, but they would be what? I mean, 5% of the total land India is having, 95% is already owned. So we are going to go through it. So e-governance is like that. Then comes e-Kranti. E-Kranti, all these stuff are basically MMPs. Now I cannot talk about all those stuff, but e-Kranti was not part of Digital India. It was already started in 2006. It was incorporated in Digital India. E-Kranti is basically about initiating stuffs, making people aware about computers and all those things. Information for all. Once each and everything is synchronized digitally, information will be available to each and everyone. Again, CS is coming to the picture. Electronics manufacturing, sorry. Now what these people are saying is, if we need to have this huge broadband connection, internet connectivity and all those stuff, we need to have what? Electronics, correct? So that way it is going to boost up the electronic manufacturing. So optical fiber will be manufactured and all those stuff will be manufactured, and then the whole India will be connected to digital India. Then IT for jobs. What these people are saying is, as we can see, India is having population of 1.3 billion, the largest telecom industry in the world, and they are going to digitalize each and everything. Government will need people to run it, and they are assuming that once this thing is done, 1.7 crores job will come into the picture in these things, manufacturing, IT, then electronics and telecom. In these three sectors, through Digital India, they are going to generate 1.7 crore jobs. It's a huge success for India. Then early harvest programs. These early harvest programs I have not read it about because it was huge and I don't have that much time. Now, we are through with the vision, how they are going to implement. Now, what are the results? Let's say impacts of Digital India. The government is thinking the broadband will be available by 2019 in 2.5 lakh villages. CSCs are available in 1,37,000 CSCs are available, but they are covering 6 lakh villages. So it is not available to each and every village. So by 2019, they are saying they'll cover 2.5 lakh villages. Okay. Then it is net zero imports by 2020. I have not gone into this as well. Then 4 lakh public internet access points, hotspots and all this. Wi-Fi into, this is interesting, Wi-Fi in 2.5 lakh schools, each and every university, and public Wi-Fi hotspots for citizens as well. So you can find after 2-3 years your bus stand having a Wi-Fi there. Then digital inclusion. Digital inclusion is not nothing else but the job creation that I said. 1.7 crores what they are expecting. It can be more. Then by 2019, India will be leader in IT use, in services, in health services, in education and in banking. Right now India is not leader into these 3 sectors, but it will be by 2019. And again, digitally empowered citizen. It's a huge success to any India. I am done with this. I hope you enjoyed.